Hey you, I'm the Queen of Shade. Welcome to the interview. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, oh, and hit my Cash App to support your favorite content creator. Now let's get to the interview. Mwah.
Let me tell you something. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too.
Salutations, Dufos. This is your fabulous leader, the Queen of Shade, coming to you with another special presentation. Moving full speed ahead, getting to know some amazing people from around the world. I'm talking to some great people. We're having great conversations because these are not really interviews. These are conversations where we go back and forth and we share things about our lives, things we want you to know. And having said that, I have someone else that you need to meet right now. This person is a public figure from New York City, published model, dancer, fitness enthusiast, yoga instructor. He says that you can DM him, but for business only. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Brandon Bliss. Hi.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I was looking forward to this whole day.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
we were texting. We were both excited.
Yes.
It takes me a little while to get ready, so I got up at 5 o'clock. I was up during the day. I ate and did all of that stuff, and then I laid down. I always take a nap before I have to do this because there's a lot of energy transference that happens, while we're
Yeah.
doing this. So I just kind of like to clear my energy and then get it going. But I woke up and I'm in Philadelphia and there's thunderstorm warnings all over the place. I'm just like, oh, but we're gonna pray that our Wi-Fi does not get interrupted.
Okay. Yeah.
So how are you up there in New York? I'm spoiling. I know where you are. So
Yeah, it's hot.
yeah,
It's hot out here. And it's nice though. It's cool. It's nice out here right now. Yeah. It's a lot going on in the world, but it's nice right now.
it's summertime.
Yes, yes. So it's a lot of beautiful bodies, men and women, all over.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, I'm enjoying that people are out and happy right now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And we haven't seen that kind of happiness in a few years because of the whole pandemic and everything else that was going on. You look
Yeah.
amazing. You look amazing. You don't have to adjust it anymore.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see you. But you know why I say that to you? Because we have something in common. You're a Libra.
Yes.
I'm a Libra too.
Oh my gosh. Okay. When is your birthday?
September 29th.
Wow. You're my best friend's birthday. Awesome. Okay. October 4th, 10/4.
October 4th. My best friend
Yeah.
is October 6th. So yeah, we
Nice.
got a lot of and my grandmother's October 17th.
Nice. Okay.
So we
What's
just
up, Libra gang?
yeah, we're a whole bunch of balanced people.
Yeah. And a heart. Yeah.
Yeah, balanced and hard. Yeah, but don't make
Yeah.
us mad. Don't make us protect our loved ones.
Get us mad.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game.
You know what? That is so true because
It is.
I read somewhere where they said a Libra will never back down from a fight.
I ain't never done it.
Not when
But
I'm
I love to
mad.
love.
Yeah, not when I'm mad. When I'm mad about something and I believe in what I'm fighting for, oh, I will go to the I will go to the end.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that is kind of funny. But yeah, so this is my 40th year. In September, I'll be 40. So
Okay.
yeah, so I'm an established Libra. I'm a mature Libra.
Okay, season.
Yeah. We know that you're only 18, so that's
Right?
right.
Keep that. Yes.
That's okay. So tell me, are you native to New York? Were you born there?
I'm born and raised in New York. My family is a little mixed all over the place. My mom is Black and Native American. My father is Cuban and Italian.
Wow.
So yeah.
New York is a melting pot, so you see a lot of that there, you know.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so being born and raised in New York City, you must have seen a lot because, I was talking to my boyfriend who is also from New York City, and we were discussing that, New York City is so cultured. You know, they say, people say, oh, there's a hood in New York City. Yeah, but you're still going to 42nd Street to go to the movies,
Exactly,
and you're
yeah,
crossing other lives, the executives and everybody else. So the Broadway, and you see all of that. So
yeah.
New York hood is not the same hood as everybody thinks it is, like the hood of Philly. Like, no, that's why we've had so many super duper 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 successful New York actors and musicians. And
Thing is, yeah.
yeah, because you guys are built differently. You guys are
You have to be. It's not easy out here, but it's, yeah.
Now, how is it as far as like, because I was talking to my boyfriend about this, how far, like, how is it as far as like occupation out there? I mean, do you guys, is there a lot of job availability? I mean, do you have to pick a field, go into a trade, go to college? How would you say the climate is out there for that?
Um, Honestly, I think that this is New York is a place where you have to want it.
Hmm.
Whatever it is that you want, you have to. I don't want to say you have to know what you want, because there was a long time where I didn't.
Okay.
But it's definitely a place to find yourself.
Right.
For me, I'm a dancer by nature.
Yeah.
So I was trained, and I was all over the place in different schools. Harlem School of the Arts, Jazz Theater of Harlem. I was at Alvin Ailey for a year.
Wow.
Broadway Dance Center. There's such a wide plethora of places to figure out what you might want to do. For me, it was dance.
Wow. So,
So
yeah, keep going.
yeah, jobs. I mean, jobs. I guess I pushed myself to work hard because I was raised by a group of extremely strong women from Georgia, and Cuba. So it was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? I can't just, say I'm gonna sit here and not do or not provide, or, not replenish what's being given to me. So I worked, I think my first job as most was summer youth, but I really strove. I don't know if that's even a word, but I really pushed myself to get educated and learn both about the streets and about education. But I didn't want to be, I don't want to say a statistic, but I guess that's the best word for it. I didn't want to be a statistic.
Right.
I wanted to be successful. I wanted to provide. I wanted to, like I said before, reciprocate and replenish what was given to me. My grandmother was extremely hardworking. She was a director for ACS for about 40 years. My mom went from being an addict to becoming a drug counselor to help the community. So there was, it was really instilled in me and ingrained in me that I needed to work for what I wanted, and, first and foremost, be happy where I ended up.
Yeah.
So my dreams initially were to become a dancer. I thought I was going to be a ballerino, or a hip hop star or something like that. I always dreamt of being on stage with Beyonce. I think everybody does.
I was gonna say, don't we all?
Everybody does. Um, but right now I work in health.
Yeah.
So I work for the health department actually. Right now I'm a reproductive health advocate.
Yeah.
And that's been an amazing experience. It's given me a lot of appreciation for humanity in general, but especially for women, and the plight and the struggle that women go through. Just seeing, even with what's going on right now, the Roe versus Wade, is it's kind of disgusting. Like, seeing that women's bodies are still not their own, and it's a law. There is no law that dictates a man's ability to have kids or not have kids or not want kids or desire. So you know we're living in really crazy times, but work in New York City I feel like the nicest way to say it is you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So tell me, Alvin Ailey, you did all of that. Do you
yeah.
still do you still perform? Do you still, audition?
So I haven't auditioned in a while. Um, I had an injury to my knee years ago, and so that took me out of commission for a little bit. But the dance, the fever, it never goes away.
Right.
Um, so I just enjoy personally being on stage.
Mhm.
That was something. If anything, it's more of like a connection to my grandmother.
Yeah.
When I started dancing, I hated it. I
Uh,
truly hated it. I was the only boy in my ballet class with a pink tutu and pink slippers, and I was also the only boy of color. So I don't know. I guess eventually I learned an appreciation for it, and I understood my grandmother's reasoning for wanting me, not in the streets, but just performing, being bigger than I ever thought I could be. That was something that was always instilled in me, was to push the envelope and to be myself first and foremost, and to find something that brought me joy, which, people say they're happy, but true joy is it's a whole different
mhm,
feeling.
mhm.
So I like to perform. Right now, I dance, but I dance, I guess, exotically.
Yeah.
I dance in the clubs, and I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. It's different for me. I guess my mindset is very different. I started dancing in the club at 18,
Yeah.
and I was told by a customer, I'll never forget it. I was so out of place, and I was just like, I'm here, and I'm trying to, like, grind. I'm trying to take care of, because I take care of my mom.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to make it. Go to school, and it was difficult to navigate high school and then college and then studies and choreographing, and I was doing just so much. But I truly do love performing in the club. For me, it's the outfits, it's the camaraderie, it's being able to see people actually right then and there, like, happy, and you're making money,
Yeah.
so it's been an awesome experience to be able to be now 36,
Yeah.
and still able to move and make people happy. I think that's what it is. I don't like saying I'm a people pleaser, but I like to see people smile. I like to see people laugh,
Yeah.
enjoy themselves. Life is it's a space,
Yeah.
and you have to definitely find your own step in it. So yeah,
Yeah. I wouldn't say people pleaser for you. I would say liaison of joy or liaison of happiness.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
grab that.
it came to me. So
Yeah,
you're a liaison of happiness and joy in those clubs. You make people feel good. I've
yeah,
actually seen some of your work, and you are a consummate dancer. I love the costumes. I love the energy that you bring. And then not just that, you've got the beauty that you bring. And even as you were sitting here and you were discussing, I said to myself, typical Libra. Want to do it all, want to do it all, want to do it all. But the thing is, I know this in myself. There's so much we can do.
yeah.
So talented. So
So gifted.
yeah. So I just want to back up one moment and say, your grandmama put you in a pink tutu and ballet slippers.
She definitely did. And you know, when I look back, I'm just like, I couldn't be anything more than grateful.
Okay.
Um, I've lost so many friends. I've seen so many people not make it. In just different ways, different forms. No education, no ability to get education. My grandmother came from right after, I guess, slavery. My grandmother picked cotton in the fields of Georgia to eventually provide for seven of her own children, and we had a 7-bedroom apartment overlooking Marcus Garvey Park in Harlem. But we knew it didn't come cheap,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm eternally grateful. She's no longer here, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that she sees what I'm doing and she's proud. Um, because I stuck with it, through injuries and heartache and not knowing where my next audition was coming from, because I was definitely auditioning. I auditioned for Janet, Discipline, Destiny's Child Fulfilled. I was able to be in those spaces, and it was a blessing. And I wouldn't have had even those types of memories without my grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, even as I was reading your bio, it sounds like you're also moving into teaching others the art as well.
Yeah. Um, it was always instilled in me to pass on blessings,
Yeah.
to make sure that, the world is that the world feels you, but also that the world knows who you are and they're happy with that.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to please everyone, but dancing for me brought a lot of joy, a lot of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I work a lot with children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that type of energy. It's like there's nothing like it to see,
Mm-hmm.
a young kid or someone who feels like they can't dance, maneuver and move. And our bodies are beautiful. Our bodies are made by God, and just I think it's an awesome experience to be able to hand back some blessings, teach people and show them that there are different forms of movement that have nothing to do with guns, that have nothing to do with violence. I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I will, you know, lay into you like a soft hotel bed if you get to that point, But I like seeing people um see themselves in a different way, or in a way that they didn't think that they could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very Libran of you, because we always enter spaces and we don't try to change things. We just try to offer a different perspective. That's what we all
Yeah.
do. It's like that's
Yeah.
like that's like the Libra code, unspoken code is just to, well, what if you see it this way, or what if it were that way? Or that's exactly what I've been able to do and make a living doing, because I speak, like, I don't speak about, people are, from all over the world. I read all of the comments and all the emails and all of the praises for, my work. And I'm really not reinventing a wheel. I really
Yeah.
am just tweaking the perspective of something. Well, that you love is this, but what if you looked at it like this? Or, believing in yourself is this, but what if you looked at it like this? Like that's what I do. So it's it's so funny to be speaking to you, because I'm just going to say this. As a Libra, I can sense that there were some pains there, and you're not
Yeah.
saying them, and you don't have to. But as a fellow Libra, I know that there were some sacrifices, because I can just sense it. Even in your story, there were some sacrifices that had to be made. But I want you to know that every one of those sacrifices was not in vain. Every sacrifice you've ever made will reward you. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, but keep living. Because every sacrifice that was made, every time you had to put someone before you, yourself, that is going to reward you, because you did that and you didn't complain, and you kept the feeling to yourself. You didn't, because you could have. They always say that about us. We're not bitter. We're not bitter. We're not resentful. We do what we have to do. But I want you to know, like, your time is not over. Your time's not over. That's why you're sitting here talking to me. Yeah, and I don't know how familiar you are with me, but I'm a shaman, so I hear different things. Let's start with, your grandmother is very proud of you. Let's start there. Very proud of you. What's this nickname that she used to call you?
Um, nickname. Um,
What did she call you?
she used to call me Ukin.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew what it meant.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's Native American. I think that it means soft but strong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. I just was TikToking before we came on here. And it's kind of funny that you just said that because that was one of the focuses of my TikTok today was you look at me and I look so soft, but sometimes the things that are the softest are the strongest,
Yeah.
you know?
Water. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And air.
Air. Right. Yeah. Air.
Yeah, yeah, because that's us. We're not, we can give you a breeze or we can be a tornado up in this bitch.
Okay, let's do it. All right. Yeah,
Air,
definitely.
air is air. So, oh my God. So auditioning, doing different things like that. Well, now performing in the clubs, like I've seen your work as a published model. I love it. And you know,
Thank
they
you.
always, you're very welcome. They always, I learned early in fashion that, you know, dancers make the best models because you're so completely in tune with your body. You know how to move your body, you know how to turn your legs, you know, you're literally aware of every limb and how to place it. And I see that even in your modeling. And I love your modeling because there is a sexiness to it. It's not just so straightforward, and I'm going to say this word, vanilla. It's not
Yeah.
it's not so vanilla. There's a little Latin heat in there. There's a lot of seduction in it, and there's a lot of sexiness to it. And you're right, that brings a lot of us pleasure. That brings a lot of us joy because, you know, in a world where, like you said, sexuality is being attacked, it's
Yes.
so beautiful to have people that are like, listen, this is who I am. I'm a sexy person. I'm gonna be sexy. Like it don't matter what y'all say, you know?
It's funny because I never saw myself as sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Never do.
yeah, I can look back and I'm just like I can count on probably maybe one and a half hands how many times I don't want to say felt sexy, but I don't look at it like that. Um, I guess I had to get it took a long time for me to get comfortable in my skin. I'm the only child. Um, so I had to learn my own confidence and I had to truly learn that confidence is not something you can get from someone else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow, being an only child and being a Libra, that's hard. I used to read these development books about Libras, and they talked about how we needed other people around us because it kind of helped us to form a better perspective of the world. You know, as quiet as it's kept, we're not very imaginative. We're magical, but not imaginative. So we don't want a whole bunch of people friends that you can't see, imaginary tea parties and stuff like that. We are butterflies. So it's like we want actual people there. But
Yeah.
you seem to navigate it just fine.
I'm trying. I mean, thank you. I will take that. That is a compliment. But yeah, I've never wanted to fit in,
Yeah.
I guess. You know, um I always push myself, I guess, to like I said, push the envelope.
Yeah.
There was a time when you couldn't get me into a tank top, you couldn't get me into shorts, you couldn't get me to show my legs or anything like that. I was very um I guess just insecure about the way my body was or how I looked.
Yeah.
And if you look at the beginnings of my page or my story, I always kind of looked the same, but I didn't grab onto that
Mhm.
the way everyone else did. So it was a little daunting to a certain degree, um, feeling like the world saw me before I saw myself.
Yeah, I used to be the same way. I didn't know that I was sexy. I didn't know that my voice was so distinct. I didn't know that it was a sexy voice until high school. And I was running track, minding my business, and I've told this story before. I'm on the track, and we're in between our running. We're on the track walking. This is our like minute 60-second break before we do a 400 or something like that. And I went to a very integrated school, so I remember all the guys being quiet, and I'm talking to my best friend as we walk, and we're all walking down the track, and everybody is pin silent, pin silent. Like everyone is, and I'm like, okay. I noticed. So I stopped talking. And one of the upperclassmen said to me, he said, man, if you ever do phone sex, call me. And get it. All the guys, the whole track team bust out laughing and were like, yes, yeah, call us all. And I was so mad. I was so mad because once, like you, I didn't see that for myself. I'm like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? I'm going to school to be a veterinarian. What are you talking about phone sex? And then I ended up later in my life becoming a phone sex agent. It was my first gig as an entertainer. It was my first gig. It was the first gig, and I needed it because it taught me the psychology of men, because that scared me as well. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't always have the best relationships with men growing up. So it taught me not to fear them. It taught me to understand how they thought. And I know that may sound weird to people, because I am a man, but literally I knew how I thought, but I didn't think like other men. You know,
Yeah.
I needed to know how the testosterone driven men thought.
Yeah.
Me, I'm too spirited, so I have the balance, you know. So it just, you know, I'm rational, and I needed to know how the hot-blooded man thought. And I learned it there. I was phone sex agent for 2 years, and it taught me so much, and it actually launched my career. It was the reason why I started on YouTube so many years ago and started putting myself out there and letting it be heard. Because for so long, even with singing, I would sing to myself. I didn't. I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't for show. That wasn't my thing. My thing was, oh, I'm smart. I always wanted to be smart. You know, I always wanted to be studious. So it was like, no, I'm going to go do this. And it's so funny because college didn't go the way that I thought it should. I had a lot of heartbreak and heartache as well, with the passing of mental illness from my parents to me. So it was just very difficult. But what I realized in the shift, and everybody's using this word now, and it's such a good word, I had to pivot, and I went into entertainment. And even with entertainment, I was ready for it. I was made for it. But there were so many other obstacles that I wasn't quite ready for. And most of those obstacles were in the forms of other people, other people, you know? So it took me a while to finally be able to do what I do on my terms and not let anyone affect me. So I know what it's like to take a long time to get comfortable in your own skin. Like I said, I'm going to be 40 in September, and finally, and I'm going to say this, it's my show. I don't give a fuck. I don't give not one fuck about what people think about me. And it just, I don't know where it dropped off. You know, I've had the 16 years of therapy. I've spoken to the psychiatrist and the psychologist and all of that. And we've talked about my life, and we've learned to, express and articulate our feelings and our emotions very well. But I give no fucks. And I don't know, even sitting here talking to you, I don't know where that happened. I don't. I just, it just happened. I just was like, you know what, your thoughts and your concerns don't matter to me more than mine do. So I eventually learned self-preservation. And that was what was eluding me, because I started in the world with drug addict mother, drug addict father, mentally ill mother, mentally ill father, being passed around my family from to different family members. And it was like, you've got to be the right child, you've got to be the best child so you can stay here. You know, and they would always give me up anyway, and I'd have to go somewhere else. But eventually, and I said that today, it's so funny, we're in my TikTok videos, because I said, you know, finally I was able to take a hold of me. I was able to take a hold of me and not have to be pedaled around from pedal to post. So it's really funny that even though we've lived different lives, there's still that similarity of understanding that, you know, people are people and we don't have to please them. Mm-mm,
Very true. Yeah.
please them. So
I
tell
didn't know. I didn't feel I it's funny, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you said something that it hit me. I I I used to sing. I sing for once in a while, but I sing to myself
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't. There was a point where I didn't like my voice.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling.
I didn't like my voice,
Yeah.
and I didn't feel like my voice mattered.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like a double, like a self-imposed
Yeah.
whammy for me. It was just like, I was always told you have a very soft voice or soft voice for a man, and different things. So I would speak less.
Yeah.
I would sing to myself,
Yeah.
and I didn't really want to express
Mm-hmm.
as much to people
Mm-hmm.
um how I was feeling or anything. I wanted to really, just shrink in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely get that. I don't know where I got to a point where I was just like, well, you guys can all go and fuck yourselves pretty much. Listen to someone else's voice. There's so many
Yeah.
out here. So yeah.
What I love is that with us being who we are and being a part of the Leaper gang, and I'm going to keep bringing that up because that's our
That's
connection.
right.
That's our connection. What I love about us is that we're late bloomers anyway. It doesn't happen for us at once, it happens for us last. So, I just want to put that in your head. Still use your voice. I still encourage you to use your voice. I encourage you to put it out there as much as you can, because
Yeah.
I was the same way. I talked about it on TikTok. I had young guys like trying to kill me. Like I had guys that were, and now that I understand because of the whole, like I said, phone sex piece, they were attracted to me and they didn't like the fact that they were attracted to me. So it made them angry because they didn't understand why they were attracted to a man. But I had very feminine ways about me, and not just even feminine ways, ways that were just genuinely beautiful, a beautiful human being, you know? And they were hitting me in my head with rocks. There was many times I went to the um, doctors. I thought I might have had brain injuries because I had to get stitches and all kinds of things because they couldn't deal with their emotions surrounding their relationship with me or their attraction to me. So it just, these things, they shape us, but they don't make us. They don't make us. They shape us, but they don't. So tell me, now you're working with, reproductive in the reproductive sciences, with women that want to have babies or women that are trying to get pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How is that work for you?
Um, it's extremely fulfilling.
Mhm.
It's very fulfilling. I'm realizing, it's hard to say. I'm realizing honestly that there are a lot of people out here who are suffering in silence,
Mhm.
and I'm trying my best not to say anything that's going to jeopardize
Yeah, keep it,
my employment.
yeah,
But
keep it light. Keep it light. I can walk you through it. So you said how is that for you? That was the question. So you say you already answered it. You said I enjoy it. It's very fulfilling. And that was all you needed to say. I could walk you through that. That's We protect our own. So moving right along. Um, New York, have you ever like aspired like dancing and things like that? Have you traveled to other cities being an exotic dancer?
yeah, I have. I've gone to North Carolina. I've been to Miami. I've been to. I would love to go to Cali,
Yeah,
but I've never gone to Cali to dance. I've been out there a few times. I love it out there.
yeah.
Um, but it's. I actually just started dancing again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, fairly recently. It was actually by accident. A lot of it. In a way, a blessing. Um, a friend of mine, the first person who allowed me to dance in their club, um, they were actually struggling health wise and business wise, and they reached out to me. Luckily, I still had the same number, And they asked if I was still dancing, if I was still performing just in general.
Yeah.
Because when I dance, I dance.
Yeah.
You know, when I dance, I dance. And they asked me, yeah, they reached out to me and I think via Instagram and asked, you know, are you still performing? Are you still dancing? I see that you're modeling, and he said it flat out. He said, I need help.
Hmm.
And you know, I said, you know, if you need help, I'm there.
Yeah.
You know, when I was 18, I was unable to find a job, and I was even at that age somehow overqualified for certain positions, and people were just, I'm sure there were different factors, but I needed to take care of my family, and I was going to school and doing, you know, right by myself and my family and my education, but education was not paying me right then and there.
Yeah.
So I needed to be honest with myself and with my family. My
Yeah.
mom knew that I was dancing, and she, you know, she was like, as long as you're being safe. And so I did just that. And you know, the owner was an amazing guy. You know, he really wanted us to just, you know, be comfortable and happy. Um, but he wanted us to make our bank, our money, you know. But he was very much like I would say an uncle, not a father figure, more like a uncle. I was, of course, the smallest one in the club. I'm 5'6".
Yeah.
So um, he would just tell me, you know, first rule is make sure that I can see you at all times,
Yeah.
and make sure that when you leave, you don't leave with anybody.
Right.
So then he literally would put me in cabs to go home.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that. You know, I was very young, and but I knew that I was not supposed to be there at that time. I knew that I needed to be there.
Yeah.
So I think God was really looking out for me. I remember the last night that I spent in the club, they they had us do a performance. I won the performance. The I guess there was like a little contest that was going on, and I won.
Hmm.
But I was, of course, still nervous because I was just like, all right, people are gonna bug out. They're gonna be angry. Um, and so he put me in a cab, and I called him, and I was like, I don't know if I can come back. But I remember distinctly that after I got off the stage, before I left the club, a gentleman walked up to me. He said, "You're beautiful. The things I would do to you, but you don't belong here yet.
Uh,
If you belong here at all." He handed me $100 bill, and he said, "Thank you for the entertainment, but go home."
mm.
And I was, you know, I was a little insulted. I was like, "Fuck is this?" Like, what? I think once I got home, I realized I wasn't supposed to be there, at least yet.
Mm.
And so I just focused on my education. But
Mhm.
coming back in, um, I realized that I'm ready now.
Mhm.
That this was something that was, if anything, needed.
Mhm.
You know, people look at it like exotic dancers and strippers, and you know, we're sex workers. We're just all over the place, and it's so different. I've encountered so much love and so much, so many amazing, amazing individuals that are simply misjudged.
Yeah. Um, we don't believe that over here. I don't know if you've seen my interviews, but I interview adult film stars. I,
Yes.
I interview exotic dancers. I interview gay for pay men, and then I interview Hollywood, people, and music people and fashion people. My thing is, the point is, we're all people. Because people would say to me, I mean, if they had the opportunity, oh, you were a phone sex agent, that was the realest, most enjoyable job I ever had. And I didn't care what anybody thought. That job by itself put me in a co op in the center of my city. I had my own space. I had very expensive pets, Persian cats, 3 of them. I was living my life. I didn't have a lot of furniture, but that was because I didn't really want a lot of furniture. I was doing a lot of other things and I didn't want stains on my furniture.
Okay.
But yeah, but I enjoyed that job. And you hit on something inside. In the job, I was the only male. I was the only male. And I needed no training with my voice. I knew I knew how to place my voice, and B, I was naturally imaginative. And I had things to talk about. I had traveled. I'd been to France. I'd been to London. So when these guys called, and there were a lot of African American women there, and I loved them, but these African American women didn't really have, like you said, the access to a higher education, the access that the inner city schools didn't have. I got in the suburbs. My grandmother worked 40 years in the inner city and put us in the suburbs to go to school while she taught the best she could in the inner city. But we went to suburban schools. That's why I went to college. I was groomed for that. But a lot of people would say a lot of things about dancers, this is that and the other, oh, we're sex workers. Da, da, da. Well, I guess I'm a sex worker too then. I guess I am. Because in my outfit today, my voice is the most recognizable part of me. And I use it, and I intentionally use it to be sexy. I live in my power. I know what works for me. I know what people are going to take and keep and hold on after an encounter with me. And it's this voice. I know how to drop it. I know how to rise it. I know where to place it. I know how to be sweet. I know how to do that. And I would have never learned that without that job. And I remember there were a lot of girls. There were a lot of girls jealous of me. There were a lot. Because I was a man. So, the men could be a little disrespectful at times. But to me, it was all fun because at the end of the day, I wasn't a woman. I was having fun. And the gag was, like Kiki Palmer says, the gag was that I was a man. So they could try to belittle me all they want. And I'm like, baby, the gag is on you because you don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You're talking to a man 5'11". You're talking to a 5'11" black man. Because most of our callers were Caucasian and other races, but not a lot of African American men called. And the process to get to us was created to be hard for African American men to have access to the girls. But it was just set up that way. I spoke to doctors, I spoke to lawyers, I spoke to music executives, I spoke to, Hollywood executives. I spoke to all of these people. But they made it hard for Black men to be able to call. But even in that space, I remember my boss, God rest her soul, she died of colon cancer. Her name was Donna Wesley. I remember when one day one of the girls was really fed up with the job. She was upset. She didn't want to simulate sucking dick anymore. It was fun. It was fun though, because you didn't have to do that if you had an imagination. You could get them to talk to you. They would stop in mid-stroke and be like, if you said something, they'd be like, what? Like that was what I had the ability to do. So one day the girl, she slams the phone after the caller hangs up, because that was our big thing, caller hung up. So that lets then you can hang up your phone. And then she's like, oh, I can't stand this. And then she's talking about the men and she's going off. And my boss walked out of our office and called her and said, sweetie, don't talk like that about these men. These men are paying your bills. Your baby's in daycare. These men are putting your baby in daycare. So have some respect, because without these men, you wouldn't have a job. And I overheard that. And though I wasn't the one that needed to be told that, because I was having fun, mind you, my water fell over. I was having fun. It still put it in my head to be respectful, to be grateful, to be thankful for the men. And I was. And every time I answered the phone, I had gratitude in my voice. I was happy to hear them. because our shifts were 6-hour shifts. So I'd work graveyard, which was midnight to 6 a.m. And then if they needed me to stay, I'd stay sometimes to sit till 7 or 8. And then from there, I'd go to the gym, work on my body, and then go home and sleep. And I really didn't sleep. I called whatever man I was trying to, but I had my life. I was happy. I was happy. I had my own. It was the first time I had really had my own. And I realized then that I was getting my own with something that I didn't have to struggle with, something that came to me easily, something that was a gift. Dancing for you is the same as my voice. It was placed in your hands early and it brought about so many different things. Your apartment looks beautiful behind you. You're a plant daddy, I see. You know,
Yeah.
you see, like my thing is, yeah, you have that job, but my thing is performance and dancing. First of all, the sex industry in any capacity is a $1 billion industry. Why? And that's why I do these interviews. And I don't lump you in with sex workers. You're an exotic dancer. An exotic dancer, not adult film star, exotic dancer. And even if you did adult film work, who can't, like, who gonna check? Okay, I gotta do Tamar for a second. Who gonna check you, boo? Who gonna check you? Who gonna check you? You're a grown man. You're a grown man. Ain't nobody paying your bills. Ain't nobody, when you turn your key in your house, you go into your house. You're not living with your mama. You take care of your mama. But but look at that. You're able to take care of your mama. Meek
Yeah.
Mills. I heard something that Meek Mills said. Meek Mills is from my city of Philadelphia. And
Yeah.
he said something that blew me away the other day because I heard somebody use it as like a audio. And he said, I'm not trying to be a thug. He said, I'm trying to make $100 million. He said, it's easy. Then he said, buy my mama something, buy my grandmother something. He said, it's easy to pull a trigger, but it's not easy to move your mama up out the hood. And it just resonated with me so much because I was like, in this day and age, I've encountered that. Oh, you're soft, you're soft, you're soft. And I'm like, sweetie, that's the exterior. If you knew how much of a man I was inside my head.
Okay.
Last time I checked, I'm the entrepreneur. I have several companies behind me. I own several trademarks. My own name is trademarked. And I'm not talking about just the Queen of Shade. I'm talking about my actual name, Bjorn Dufault. My name is trademarked. I own everything that concerns me. And I learned that from having those kind of jobs. Occupy the space, hold the space, claim the territory. I get sick and tired of people, especially in my industry of entertainment, because they want everyone to be cookie cutter and, not have a backstory and come out squeaky clean. And it's like, sweetie, those aren't the ones that are really making it. When you really look at television, even on reality TV, they want everybody with a story. And they want to make all this money off of those people with a story and that need to talk to you, Jan Van Zap, and all of this stuff, like all of these things, Von Zant, and all of these things, they're making so much money off of the story, but they want to tell you that your story is invalid or is invaluable. And I'm like, how? Because reality TV has become television. It used to be something you could only get on cable. You see reality TV everywhere now, everywhere. So it's like you are interested in our stories, but you don't want us to own them. You don't want us to sell them ourselves. You don't want us to reap the residuals from them, the benefits from having lived them. We lived them. The pain is ours. The pleasure is ours. The triumph is ours. The loss is ours. That's why I walked away from mainstream entertainment, because I said, sweetie, I'm not selling you my story. I had a very famous, when I first started singing and I put out a song called Black Stilettos, I had a very, very, very famous producer and songwriter and singer and performer have his people reach out to me. And they wanted me to go on tour with him and other big name artists and, open up for them and do all of these things. And they thought this little Black boy was going to be so happy that he was getting an opportunity, And I said to him on the phone, I said, I'm sorry, Mr. So-and-so, I have to decline. And he said, why? I said, because I'm not a lunchbox. I didn't prepare this entire meal and spend all the time preparing this meal for you to come along now and slap your name on the outside of the box and say you found it. I've always been that way. And I've always had to take, what is that? Dismiss. I've always had to take the high road because of that. And mainstream media has always said, oh, you're going to struggle. You'll never make it. You'll never make it. And you know what I said? Watch me. That's why I'm here doing what I'm doing. Watch me. And as a Libra, I say that with all fire and passion behind me. Watch me. Watch me. I've had those same companies try to steal my trademark because they thought I didn't do my homework and my research and protect it. Oh, no, baby. I paid the money. I have the lawyers. I have the accountants. You think twice before you come over here messing with anything that's mine. And I have that stance because I didn't get it from somebody else. This was made on my own terms. So my thing is, I look at all exotic dancers. First of all, you may work in a club, but you work for yourselves. You guys rotate. You're entrepreneurs. You rotate from club to club to club to club to club. And you have regulars that come in to see you dance, regulars that tip you, regulars that look forward to your style of dance, your body, your smile. I used to be the same way. I would go to clubs just to see certain exotic dancers, just to see them, just to see them. I'm not a drinker. I'm a dancer. I dance, regular. But I would really go to the club to see my favorite exotic dancers. That was a moment of joy for me. That was a moment of happiness for me. So my thing is, we don't have these stories for people to look down on us. These are triumphant stories. What we're sharing here is life experience. What we're sharing here is life lessons, triumphs, that we are willing to use what we have to get what we want and what we need. And I have this thing because, I started as a fashion model. So I learned very early that my beauty alone could make me millions of dollars. I learned that. My look alone could make me millions of dollars. And at that time, I wasn't very comfortable with my voice. I said, oh hell, I'm going to take this long, lean, lanky, feminine looking body and this face, because this face card never declines. So I said, I'm going to take this face and I'm going to walk these runways. I ain't saying nothing. I'm going to walk. I went to Paris. I said, I'm going to walk these runways. I'm going to hit my pose, look in that camera and say, I made the check, and turn around and walk away. That was my intention. That was my intention. I hadn't come into the realization or the acceptance of my voice. And I had to have the editor at that time, the fashion editor of Essence magazine, meet me in Paris. I met her in Paris at that time. Her name was Ionia Dunlea. She met me and she said to me, you have a gift. She said, but it's not going to be enough. She said, you also have talents. And she taught me, you have to use each and every single talent that you have to get into this business and arise a respected opinion. When I turn around, and get it, women, they want me to teach classes and teach them how to do the phone sex thing. They've been asking me for double-digit years. I'll do it when I have time. I'll hold a workshop, I'll teach, because we learned a lot of psychological principles, things that I employ now. It was so funny because things that I do naturally, we would have to do on the phone. My thing is, I love Black and Latin men. I've been showing men on my page and finding talent since 2003. And one thing that I do very easily is support a man and praise him. I compliment men very easily. I make men feel good about themselves because Black and Latin men should feel good about ourselves. We're gods. We are gods and kings. The world fetishizes us. They want our inches. And then you want to act like you, but you don't want what the inches are attached to.
Yeah.
I'm
You
not.
want the glory, not the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. So I naturally uplift men. That's why even with my platforms, the majority of people that come to my camera are Black and Latin men. It's what I do. And each one of them, I don't get mad at a man when he realizes he can make money from what he has physically. Because modeling was the same thing. Yeah. Same thing. And just because what? Caucasians bankroll it, it's reputable. It's reputable. And they want to keep us out. They want to keep us out. Black people, brown people. They want to keep us out. They told me in Paris, oh, sweetie, we don't have a Black market here. Black people don't wear our clothes. This is couture. And see, that's the difference. Yeah, you can go into stores, you can go into Louis Vuitton, you can go into Balenciaga, you can do all of that. You can get sneakers and things like that. But the couture lines, those lines that are hand embroidered with every Swarovski crystal and all of that stuff, that a blouse can cost you $50 to $70 to $80,000, and that's just the blouse. We're not wearing that. And they were right. But I said, but I'm here to change that. I'm here to change that. And I had to leave. It was tough. Mental illness raised its ugly head, but I got right back into it. I'm doing it now. And I always say to people, I'm a bad mojo. I'm a bad motherfucker because I'm touching the whole world and I haven't left my house in Northeastern Philadelphia.
That's funny.
I built a whole brand, a whole empire, making money and everything. And I'm sitting in my room. That's why I look at the world differently. I look at the world differently. You're not going to tell me that a person shouldn't use, and I'm such a promoter too, because I'm like, when the men, they come to me and they're like, oh, well, I don't want to talk about my OnlyFans. I'm like, that's the first thing we're talking about. That's the first thing we're talking about. That's the first thing, because you're an entrepreneur. Better you do it than you go to these companies that pay you for a scene, you get no residual, lose your dignity on camera, and have nothing to show for it.
And then somebody will capitalize on it, yeah.
Exactly. And then you go back to the same house that you lived in before you started the career. Something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah. There's a shame that we've allowed society to kind of change our not even desires, but just like our market. Yeah. Like, we are our brands, we are our business.
Yeah.
And somebody, before it would be a business card, now it's everything is online. Yeah. And it's like, you can't be ashamed. You feel how you feel, but you can't be so ashamed. And this is, we've already seen it.
Yeah.
You have to show, you have to be proud.
Yeah.
We're influenced by it. You got the interview based on it. You're getting subscriptions and money and marketing and the ability to travel, and just, I think that was what a big part of it was for me, especially, was just why am I feeling shame when you came to see me?
Exactly.
You came to see me, not the other way around.
Get this. I interviewed Max Connor. He is. Yes. Get this. He said something that was so important. He said Black entertainers in the adult film industry don't get the same treatment as Caucasians. Caucasians are taught how to set up wealth and money and then get endorsements and things like that. And the Blacks get $600 to $700 and a pat on the ass, and we'll call you the next time we need you. For whites, it's actually a career. For Blacks, it's something they do on the side. And he brought light to that. And he told me with his money and his influence, he's out to change that for creators that are of color. Because he was like, we don't get the same treatment. They get all kinds. I've interviewed so many of them. Sky Knox, he was amazing. I love Sky. But yeah, he was so amazing. But he's made a career out of that. It led to work behind and off the camera. That man travels the globe.
Yeah.
And our Black counterparts, no, they don't get that same treatment. They're not hired to do the circuit parties because circuit parties are attended by.
Yeah. It's funny you said that. Wow, you're touching on so many points. I tried actually to work at a few circuit parties because it was recommended actually by Caucasian promoters who they're just like I love you, you're awesome, you move, because a lot of people don't realize my first form of dance was actually belly dance. That was actually something that my aunt taught in a center across the street from my house, because that was what we could afford at the time, was what auntie was supplying already. And so I learned my first form of dance is Bharatanatyam, which is an Indian form of dancing, and it helps you to move and break and everything, but you're able to move your body into any other form.
Yeah.
But he said, I see a lot of people dance, and I see a lot of people get big and not able to dance. You move.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? And I told them, I have training, this is something I love to do. But realistically, I am trained to move.
Yeah.
And emote.
Yeah.
So and dance is, it's a form of communication. If not one of the biggest forms of communication outside of our mouths and sex.
Yeah.
But I've tried numerous times to get into, different parties, or just to try it out and see, what I could be there, what I could provide there. And I'll either not get an answer, or I'll get, you're not what we're looking for.
Yep. Those are the classic words. From fashion on down, you're not what we're looking for.
And I thought initially it meant, muscle. I'm big-ish, but I'm small. So I was like, okay, they're looking for muscle men. They're looking for muscle men. And luckily, I, friends who are not competitive, and they're expressive about, like they're upfront, they're honest. And I was told they're not looking for us. And if they do, it's I don't want to say token, but
you got to say the word, because that's what was in my head.
Okay. So then, we are the token. Like, we're having a Latin event. So we need some big Latin guys.
Yep.
We're having a Black event, or we want to do something, there was a bomb in Africa. We need some guys in kente cloth.
Yep.
Thongs.
Yep.
But outside of that, they're not looking for us.
You're not looking for us.
Yeah.
There's a baby of mine. I interviewed him too. I interview everybody. That's my attitude. There are stories with everybody. So, I'm glad that my career just isn't celebrities. I'm making my way up, but they've been publicized. I love to find new talent. I love to tell new stories. I love to bring people because your story is so interesting. People are going to watch this, and our conversation today is going to help so many people.
Yeah.
But his name is Amir Morris, and Amir is a beautiful, dark-skinned man. I mean, absolutely beautiful. He's got dreads. He's on the thin side. He's really well put together. And he literally, he did a post, and he was in these beautiful, like psychedelic, like purple wings. And it was like a harness. And he had on the same matching, like Speedo jock kind of thing. And he was dancing for a circuit party. And he said, even in his caption, he was like, I don't know why I keep on, accepting these gigs, because I am they want me to be the token Black man, is what he said. He said, but then I realized I have to hold this space because there are little Black boys that need to see themselves when they come out and become gay and they go to these parties. They need to see somebody that looks like them. So he was like, I say yes to these circuit parties. And he's like, I'm rare. I'm the only one here of my complexion. And he's like, I'm doing this because I need to hold this space. And he's such a wonderful person. He travels, he works in a very racist market in Chicago. But he has earned it. He's worked all the way up. And, people say to him, and he said it, he was like, when he was interviewing with me, he was like, it's crazy that people think I don't dance in Black clubs. He was like, I dance in every club. I dance wherever the money is, and the money is there too. I go where the money is.
Yeah.
And it just was so amazing to him because, I do see Blacks that do the circuit scene, but our people tend to, oh, well, they have Caucasian counterparts and they're, whitewash and this is that. And it's like, no, fool, they're holding the space. Circuit parties, the energy in a circuit party is amazing. It's amazing.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's a beautiful experience. And yes, the Adonis factor is huge there. There are so many beautiful men. They're all fit, like that is a circuit party. That's what it is. But at the same time, it's an amazing event to behold. I've never been to one, but I've seen and I've worked with men and talked to men that have, and, I want to, I'll probably go, and what's so crazy? I'll probably go to the ones in Tel Aviv and stuff. Like, I want to outside of the, the United States, because it's just like, when I started this, and I mean my whole career, I have been in this for 20 years, and I was so convinced that the heterosexual community was against me because I was not what they were looking for, that I decided that I would not leave the LGBTQIAP plus community to make my money. I said, honey, y'all want to do this, that, and the other? I'm going to stay right in my own community and make my own money right here. I have no need to go outside of my community. And I haven't, to this point, I haven't had a need. But what I love is the Black women. The Black women came right on over. Black women were like, baby, you ours too. Because you wearing them fierce ass hair, your grandma got you looking good. Okay, you said that to me when you came on. You're like, oh, look at you. Yeah, grandma keep me looking good. Grandma keep me looking real good. And it's about holding the space. It's about holding the space. Like, I'm getting ready, and people said, oh, why is she always talking about that? Because bitch, I already went and now I'm going again. And I'm going to buy property this time. I can't wait to return to France. I can't wait to return and be a Black man who just so happens to be a trans illusionist in that space. I'm not holding that space just for me. I'm holding that space for the little boys right now that write me and tell me, I've been watching you since I was in middle school, and now I'm in college. See, I don't share that. That was to me. But I get the messages. I've been watching you. Stars write me. I've been watching you for years. Why? Because I've been out here. I've been out here. I've gone from platform to platform to platform. I've been out here. And I'm going to continue to be out here. Because as my boyfriend says, you gotta hold the space. So you be proud of who you are. Every decision, I want you to understand something. Every decision you've ever made, even the ones where you felt you had to pass something up, those decisions were only meant to serve you. You have so much life in front of you, so much life ahead of you. And you're a Libra, so it's the worst thing ever to write a Libra off or underestimate one, because we will shock you. You'll be like, they were there and they went.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to follow the blueprint, the footsteps, because there will be none, because we literally, we lift off the ground and whoop, we're there, It's a lovely thing. I'm really enjoying this conversation because I have a lot of conversations, but this one is one of the realest conversations I've had in a really long time. And I'm authentic with everyone, but this one is real. We're talking about the fact that the world as it is tries to cap how much money we can make off of ourselves,
Yeah.
off of what we are, our
Yeah.
limbs, our likeness, our voices, our minds. They're trying to put a cap on how much money we can make off of ourselves and tell us, oh no, well now you're big now. You need to go get this person, get this person. I listened. I went and got the lawyer. I got the entertainment lawyer. I got the accountant. Then I stopped there. I said, I can do everything else myself because I've been doing everything else myself. The editing, everything. I do it all myself. And I don't edit these because
Yeah.
they're the realest things I've ever done. So whatever is said is said. I don't, somebody said to me, oh, you don't edit? No, no, I don't. Because these are our stories.
Yeah.
And I was interviewed yesterday, and I love what she said. Garland Guidry, we call her Lady Garland. She said, I taught her years ago when I met her in like 2008 on YouTube. This video isn't for today, it's for 10 years from now. And it's going to sit on YouTube. It's going to become books. You'll get your check. Like it'll be so, it's going to accrue interest and money. And it's going to help us get ahead.
Yeah.
Why can't we do it ourselves?
We have it in ourselves. I mean, this is us. Like you said, you're sitting in your house right now.
Yeah.
You dressed up and decided I'm gonna exalt, I guess is the best, one of the best words.
Yeah.
Exalt us, like
Yeah.
exalt herself.
Yeah.
But yeah, exalt us. Cause I mean our stories are so, we haven't even touched.
Nope.
We haven't even touched.
Nope.
Cause I get a lot of misconceptions about who I am and how I am and why I am who I am
Mm-hmm.
and why I do me the way I do me as only
Mm-hmm.
I can do. But my story, my yeah, we have it in ourselves. We are our own. We haven't even gone to my parents. We
Right.
haven't even touched on the history we're talking about now, right now.
Right.
But it's sad that we have become commodities,
Yep.
and fetishes
Yep.
for society. You know, someone to look at me. I'm an exotic dancer, but I also teach dance. I also taught dance. I teach yoga.
Yeah.
I, I do so many different things,
Mm-hmm.
and all of it is for the best cause possible, to
Yeah.
take care of myself and my mom and to provide for. Um, that's my family, me and my mom. I have, family, but that's my core. That's my insides,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't change it,
Nope.
like, at all.
Mm.
I've done so many different things. I've toured. I've been on stage with Usher, and I've been on stage with Chris Brown, and but I've done so, and it's weird because I don't normally talk about myself in this light. I don't normally exalt myself. I'm very,
Me too.
very humble
Yeah, but
and just,
you need to. Sometimes you got to let a bitch know who you are.
yeah, because you'll forget.
Yeah, that's thank you. Because
You'll forget.
it's not about them. It's about
Yeah,
you. You'll
yeah,
forget the fire that you are. You'll forget who you be is what
yeah,
I'm saying. Yeah,
yes.
you'll forget and you cannot afford to forget.
Okay. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Ever.
Yeah.
It's you that cannot afford to forget because it's your life.
Yeah.
You lived it. You cannot afford to forget any moment of your rise and fall because that's the thing. This thing ebbs and flows. This thing ebbs and flows. You
Yeah.
cannot forget. And, even as we're sitting here, it's just, People say, oh, you're pro-black? Hell yes. Hell yes. Hell motherfucking yes.
Yeah.
Like, hell yes. Like,
Yeah.
even with my voice, I like my voice. I'm a mezzo soprano. Beyonce's a mezzo soprano. But
Yeah,
the
she
difference
is.
between us is I'm a 40-year-old man with my testicles. I didn't cut them off. You see? I'm
Yeah.
40 years old and I have a crystal clear mezzo soprano voice that I
Yeah.
need. And I look at the world because, like you said, they want to use us as commodities and then discard us.
Yeah.
Like Rhymes. I'm going into
Yeah.
our history of strange fruit.
Yes.
And we cannot allow them to do that to us. When we turn on, like and get this, I had that growing up, in a society where there were more Caucasians. I thought that I needed to identify more with a Caucasian way of living and society because that meant that I was educated or astute or different or better. And I realized, no, a Black man invented the Queen of Shade. A Black man wrote all of those songs that everyone around the world in 56 countries have heard and swear that she's the next white pop princess and don't know she's a Black man that's 40 years old. A Black man did that. We need to be proud of who we are in every facet. If they can fetishize us, we can fetishize ourselves and make the coin. That's why I'm so glad so many people are desiring to do adult content. Stop going to the damn studios because they're not painting you in the right light. Do it yourself. I listen. Every man that I support, I got their OnlyFans. I watch everything they do. I got their Twitters and their content. Just the scenarios are better.
Yeah.
The filming is better. And these are Black men doing this themselves. They're producing it themselves. They're editing it themselves. They're doing the promos themselves. And they want to tell us, oh no, baby, if you want to make it in the business, you got to have white representation. The fuck? What?
No.
What?
Because even to dance is planning, is entrepreneurship,
Yep.
is traveling, is scheduling.
Yep.
It's all the things that they say that they would tell you that you need somebody else to do for you. I don't have an OnlyFans.
Right.
I'm on and off on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's we have all of these gifts, all of this organization, all of these all of this business savvy within ourselves.
Yep.
We've had to just stop listening and waiting for people to come along and hire the cameraman who's going to overcharge us for the service, or
right.
we are the big pleasure.
Yeah.
Is light years,
Yep.
and they come to us. They want to film with us. They want to, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't have that platform or anything like that, but I watch, and no shame in my game, and it better be no shame in nobody else's. Put yourself in a space where you realize that you are the gift.
Yes.
And people pay for gifts.
Yeah.
They
pay millions.
Yeah. And this has allowed so many people to these types of interviews, the broadcasting, just the having our own companies and keeping the camaraderie.
Yes.
No competition, just companionship and us learning ourselves and being okay with who we are and our desires. We ain't doing nothing that ain't nobody out here else doing.
Right.
I've realized in just my year, I've only been on IG for about a year.
Yeah.
And I've heard so many different stories about myself. I was like, oh shoot. You know that,
Right.
and it is very much, you might see the story, but you won't know the background.
Yeah.
My mother was a nun.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mom is she's still here, so I'll say she is.
Yeah.
But I'm eternally grateful to my grandmother for what she instilled in me, and I wasn't taught to move
Yeah.
like anybody but
You.
me.
Hmm.
I'm not doing anything but exuding the gifts that God has given me, and I'm here, and I'm still here for a purpose.
Yeah.
I love to see people, like I said, happy and joyful and dancing and moving and active. Um, you know, and if that's considered sexual, if the pictures I take are considered sexual, then speak to my mom, because she's my biggest supporter.
You know what I say? Take the picture and let everybody else decide what it is.
And that's, you know,
That's
most of my outfits, to be quite honest, my mom has chosen for me, or she's just been like, you ain't wearing that. That's too tame. You ain't gonna make no money in that.
ah! That's
And
your mama. She said you ain't gonna make no money in that. Yes,
you
mama.
know, and
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for
A better
a
supporter.
better, yeah, just a better life. Life is ups and downs. It's ebb and flows, like you said, and it's going to be that. And to expect anything else sets you up for failure. It
Yes.
sets you up to be upset and mad. And I really congratulate you and exhort you for bringing up, the mental, I don't even like saying mental illness, but the mental challenges.
Yeah.
My mom, living in the society she lived in, with the lack of acceptance and the constant no, don't go through that door.
Yeah.
um I was raised by the most amazing, sweetest
Yeah.
schizophrenic nun on the market,
Yeah.
and I could never ask for anything better.
Right.
It got me to this point where I'm here being interviewed by the Queen of Shade. And when I told my mom, when I came out, if that's what we're still calling it,
Yeah. Like
instead of just living in our truth,
yeah.
my mom was more concerned with dinner.
Mm.
I'll never forget that day when I came to my mom and I was like, I've been hiding this from you. I want to tell you something, but I'm gay. She was like, she didn't even give me the I knew. She was just like, okay, are we still ordering out, or do I have to cook?
I love your mother.
And
I love your mother.
thank thank you. But it if we're not standing in our truth, then where are we standing? A friend of mine the other day said to me, don't step out on faith and stand on fear.
Wow.
And it hit me, so deeply, because that is something that we are trained to do,
Yep.
is be fearful of, be aware of the past,
Yep.
live in the present,
Yep.
but we can never know the future.
Right. Afraid of the future. Mm-hmm.
And so if we're always, operating out of what if or what could go wrong,
Yeah.
then we're putting ourselves in a space where it's already gone wrong.
Yep. It
Because
already.
it starts here. It starts here. So, yeah.
My God, this has been an amazing conversation. We really just and get this, we talked, we got to know each other, we shared
Yes.
our experiences. But baby, the people that watch this, you see, and here we are, we come together. This is a collaboration. We got together and made this amazing piece of content that's going to go out to the world, the internet. That means anyone in Poland, anyone in Sweden, anyone who has YouTube can access this. It's a world platform. Look at that. And they're gonna read and listen to two different types of Black men be Black men and talk about the importance of owning yourself standing behind yourself and being your own entrepreneur, loving yourself above it all. This,
But you're the epitome of a woman, though. You are.
but you know what's so funny? I'm two-spirited, but I get it from the women in my life. Get this, my grandmother, when I was younger, my pastor, the evangelists that would come and preach, they were mighty women. They didn't just preach at you, they roared at you. They roared at you. And even though I broke ties with the religion, I never forgot that roar. Those women roar. When I tell you they were the lionesses, that's what I became. I became a lioness. When I adorn the Queen of Shade, she is a lioness. And it's so funny because I say my male persona, my male version of me is a leopard. He fits in. He knows where to go. He hunts. He has a vast, array of different things he can do. But she's the ruler of the Pride Lands. That's what she is, you know? And I count it such an honor to sit here and be able to, talk to people like you and broadcast it. Like it is just like what? Like in my mind, I think like when I was like I look at my younger self and I'm like, bitch, did you know you didn't know that you was gonna and I'm like, bitch, and you was trying to kill yourself? You was suicidal. You had suicidal ideation. You couldn't pull it together to save your life. And look at you now.
Burn it down.
What?
Yeah.
My boyfriend's a preacher. I feel like running off camera real quick, so I better calm down. So get this. It just must be said. It just must be said. We don't need Caucasians. We have ourselves.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend, he holds out a candle in the window and says that, Black people can come together, because I was the pessimist. I said, well, not all Black people are going to come together, because you're going to always have that idiot asshole in the crowd that can't seem to get along with gays. And then it's going to always be a fight, because then he's going to want to try me, and then I'm going to bust him in the head with a bottle from the side of the curb. Yeah. I'm like, it's never going to happen. But my boyfriend says, if we teach new information, then that begins to start a new process of learning. And then I realized, I said to him, no, 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 it ain't gonna never work. And then what do you think we just did for this hour? We just taught them a new way.
It's the only way we're gonna learn.
Yeah.
To pass that on.
Yeah. We just taught them a new way. All right. Give me 3 words that inspire and empower you.
That inspire and empower.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yes.
Love.
Yes.
Fear.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me why fear.
Because I realized at a young age that some people have a fear of failure.
And a fear of success.
And some people have a fear of success.
That was me.
And me too.
Mm-hmm.
My fear was always that it used to be that I wouldn't be able to get big and maintain it.
Yep.
Or that I would let it go to my head and I would be something different than what I always wanted to be.
And get this. Do you know we have the same things in common? But get this. In success, you're not successful if you don't become something you never thought you could be. When success is done with you, you should look in the mirror and not even recognize yourself. That's the point of success. You should look and be like, I do that with this. This is me.
Yeah.
Look at me. Wow. That's the point. You shouldn't. When people say you changed, duh, That was the point.
You should
Or else
not
I'd
look
have stayed here with
to the
you.
same person.
Yeah, you should not
Yeah.
be the same person. That's the point. And my therapist had to teach me that. My psychiatrist had to teach me that. My boyfriend, my grandmother, all my support team had to teach me, baby, you're going to change.
Grow.
And I was so afraid because all my life I heard, oh, you're so self-absorbed. You're so selfish. It was because I had a very strong sense of self and I was into myself. I liked me. I liked me. It was the world around me that didn't like me. I loved me. I didn't like what happened to me when I got around other people, but I liked me because I kept doing me in private. I couldn't do it out there, so I would get home, close my doors, and do me. I've been a cross-dresser since I was 8 years old. It's just in the last 7 years I decided to turn on the camera. I've been doing this since I was 8. I'll be 40 in September. Please tell everyone where they can find you online. Social media.
Right now I only have my IG. But my IG is, and everyone mispronounces it, but I guess that's my fault. B is so amazing.
That's what I said.
Yes.
Said it because everybody wants to say biz.
Yes.
And
Everybody's.
I looked at it, I'm like, no, he means B is so amazing.
Because my middle name is Bliss. Everyone is under the impression that, so that's what it is. Everyone is under the impression that I'm using like a stage name or something like that. My middle name is Bliss. My first name is Brandon. So if anything, I cut it up. It's Brandon Christopher Bliss.
Wow.
And I'm not going to tell everybody my last name. Like you'll get it.
Yeah, they don't need to know all that.
But yeah, Bliss is actually, it's my stage name.
Yeah.
But that's the
actual
name my mom gave me. Here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know that was a mother's prayer for you?
Yeah.
That you would know Bliss.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing. You're not done, Mr. Brandon Bliss, Christopher Bliss. You're not done. You got a lot of life to live before you, and who knows, when you get to 40, you may flame on like I did too.
Yeah. I hope for that. I'll work for that.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's an amazing thing. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
For this. This was amazing because it just really helped. You know, I have friends from all different nationalities, but honey, I'm pro-Black. I'm pro-Black and I should be. I should be.
You have to.
Yeah, I shouldn't be running to another, to assimilate to another culture. I am more, and I said, and this was my TikTok before this video. I was really channeling today. I am more than just the descendant of a slave.
Yes. We are God.
Yeah, my people are from Africa.
Yes.
The motherland. One of the richest lands on this planet. I am from there. We are from there. Any Afro, anything, Latino, anything. We come from there. From the motherland.
The motherland.
Do you notice we don't have anywhere called the fatherland?
I just was thinking that. I was just thinking that.
We don't have anywhere called the fatherland. We have the motherland because they acknowledge at least that that's where the cradle of life happened. Yeah. And then they want to persecute those that are from there. Why? Because we have a legacy and a destiny and a purpose. They're trying, when they come up against us and they hear our great talents and our great abilities and our athletic abilities and this, that, and the other, it causes them to question themselves. Yeah. Because what we do naturally.
It's us.
It's us.
Yeah. I
want everyone to take away from this conversation today the importance of being themselves, the importance of owning themselves, the importance of marketing themselves. We, like you said, we are all brands. It's in our hands.
It is in our hands.
And you may not know every step, but do what I did. Read, learn, Google, seek mentors, seek it all. You know, people, it's so funny because people say to me, now that I'm back on Instagram, because I took a 7-month hiatus. Oh my God, you came back and you're so flawless. You're so this, you're so that. All I did was polish myself. I polished myself. I did it. I didn't have to have makeup and glam. I didn't have to do that. I did this. The merit is mine. All right, don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all enjoyed and heard the vocal stylings of Mr. Brandon Bliss. Say goodbye, but don't go anywhere.
Goodbye. Thank you.
So did you enjoy? I hope you did. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and don't forget to cash at me at the Queen of Shade. I am your favorite content creator, right? Right. You want to see more of this content, right? Right. Cash at me. I love you. Mwah.
I've got my black stilettos on. Don't you make me take them off. I'm assuming first position. Gonna show you I'm a boss. I've been given 60 seconds just to put my thing down. I'll have you wanting my stilettos by the time I turn around. Turn that TV down.